Oh, well, that's... well, obviously, it's the World Cup.
I mean, the whole thing is incredibly corrupt. James Cleverly the other week said, the Foreign Secretary said that any gay football fans should be aware of the country that they're going to and should behave accordingly.
Yeah, Cleverly advised LGBTQ plus fans visiting Qatar to show a little bit of flex and compromise.
It's unbelievable. And it's all about money. And you've got mainline celebrities going over there for huge checks. You know, you've got people like Robbie going over there to sing, which I must say I'm very surprised at, given all the comments that Robbie Williams has made in the past about gay rights. The fact that he's going over there to sing for them is extraordinary. I don't know what's happened to people. And it's not just him, the Black Eyed Peas are going as well, aren't they? They're going out to perform.
I don't know either of these people.
You know Robbie Williams.
Well, met him once.
Yeah, OK. Yeah,
But you know David Beckham, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. How much has he been paid?
I don't know.
You do know.
More than me.
Yeah.
Ian, is it coming home?
What, your reputation? The others have been very gentle with you, Gary, but I mean...
Thanks, Ian.
The elephant in the room is still there. I mean, you're commentating there, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm commentating there.
And what's the defence? Football term.
For commentating there? Well, you've got a choice, I think, haven't you?
What, going or not going?
Well, my view always has been that you either highlight the issues and challenges in these countries and speak about them, or you basically don't say anything, you stay back home and don't go. And I've always said we should challenge them.
There's another option. You stay at home and highlight the abuses. You don't have to go and take the Qataris' money. I'm not trying to be tiresome, but, I mean, it's just... It's not a very good defence.
And how is someone like Robbie or the Black Eyed Peas supposed to highlight it? Are they going to make a speech on the stage? Of course they're not.
You can highlight it.
What, during a match?
Well, highlight it during the commentary.
It's the kick-off here in this appalling country's human rights record, and honestly, I think, oh, someone's kicking a ball, but honestly, the amount of immigrant workers who've died, it's a shocker. Oh, it's a goal!
Nobody seems to be winning here except the corrupt funders.
There are a lot of MPs winning. The Qataris have spent more money on entertaining MPs in the last couple of months than ever before. I wonder why.
But, you know, sort of murderous nations, you know, putting up sort of sporting events to try and sort of, you know, clean up their image, like we look at the 1936 Olympic Games held in Germany.
Yeah.
If that hadn't happened, we might have had a Second World War.
To be fair, England footballers...
Oh, we don't want to be fair, Gary. That's not going to help anyone.
Yes, this is the Tories' humiliating U-turn on the pasty tax, which will inevitably lead to the resignation of the Chancellor, the collapse of the coalition and the triumphant return of a resurgent Labour government under lovely Tony Blair. At least that's my spin on it. The Conservatives have performed another U-turn over plans to capture buzzards and destroy their nests. The problem was that buzzards were eating pheasants that were being specially bred for pheasant shoots. Here's an idea. If you're a Tory toff with a shotgun, why not forget about the pheasants and just shoot the buzzards? Or even simpler, just shoot each other.
There we go, incitement to murder. You heard it here first.
I thought you'd lost interest for a minute there.
Right, time now for Ian and Ross's question. The Leveson inquiry can come over as a bunch of boring media tossers talking about themselves, Ian. So I've decided to liven it up a bit with my own Leveson-ometer. So who is this, and what has he been banging on about?
Well, it's the return of Tony Blair.
Much missed.
Yes, yeah, yes.
No, to be fair, was brilliant at Leveson. He didn't even flinch. He didn't blink at any point. You trained him well. When that guy jumped out and went, "You're a war criminal," he didn't even... He just went, "Yeah, whatever."
He didn't say yeah.
Well, no, in his soul he did.
Oh, I resent that suggestion he has a soul. God. But the idea that you can say that Osborne's full of shit and then defend Blair is unbelievable.
Sorry.
The worst thing is, I heard you use the word spin. You said, that's my spin on it just now. And Tony said, neither you nor anyone else who worked for him ever span.
No,
he said you and Lord Mandelson were terrifically good at presenting a positive case. But he resented the idea of spinning.
No, he talked about bullying, Ian. And who's the bully today?
He's just being robust. That's all he's doing.
Well, Tony's testimony...
I watched him. God knows why.
You know what? I get the feeling that at any moment you two are going to kiss.
Tony's testimony was interrupted by a protester called David Lawley Wakelin. What did he accuse Tony of?
He said he was a war criminal. But he was a very British protester. He said, I'm terribly sorry, I've interrupted everything. I just wanted to say that you're a war criminal.
Everything went swimmingly until we noticed that he was wearing the vegan sandals. And my
How dare you! How dare you!
Any serious protester, leave the vegans at home and wear proper shoes, because as soon as you see the sandals, you think, nutter.
That's a great... That's a great point. That's a great point, worthy of an extra point for Nick. Thank you. Ian, what was the most important part of Tony's brilliant testimony? You've already alluded to it.
It was the song and dance number I liked. They edited it from the Sky News coverage, but no.
Not that bit?
It was the bit where...
no spin in my time?
Yeah. He confirmed that I never bullied journalists.
Right. No, I think he confirmed that he didn't know about it.
Yeah.
He did the old Murdoch defence.
He said I never authorised Alistair Campbell or Peter Mandelson to brief against my colleagues. I hate that. It's the lowest form of politics.
Notice I never authorised them. They did it off their own bat.
No, he didn't do that. But what else does Tony say happens when you stop being Prime Minister?
You make tons of money for doing nothing.
He actually said, when you're elected, you begin at your least capable and most popular, and you end at your least popular and most capable. Oh. Which is a lovely line, which I wrote.
There's a typo. It should say culpable.
What's the other protest that's been going on peacefully?
Peacefully,
so
that's the protest outside St Paul's against the terrible world economy.
They may have to close it
I think
down.
they've already had to close the shop and the cafe.
Oh, OK.
What's happening to religion?
I know.
They were protesting against the stock exchange, but they couldn't camp outside there. And then St Paul said, all right, you can camp here.
Although it was quite amusing to see the longest queue ever for Starbucks in the history of the world in that square at a protest against capitalism.
Does anyone know what the London protesters are trying to achieve?
Well, the overthrow of the corrupt city system as they see it, one suspects, no?
They tweet about it regularly on their iPhones, perhaps in between getting cafe lattes, and housing themselves in some very fancy tents. But they are against capitalism, except for the lattes.
So if they buy coffee, their opinions are worthless.
I think if they prop up a corporate titan like Starbucks, they've got to ask themselves how much of capitalism they really don't like.
I don't think you can negate them because they have a cup of coffee. It's like said to a condemned man on the way to the gallows when he's blubbing, you ate your last meal. What's the matter with you?
They said it was your last meal.
You can't be against capitalism and then take everything that it provides and say this is terrific.
Everything?
Thank you, but I hate the system that you're providing.
One cup of coffee and they can't...
Can't they be about... Sorry, No. It's just so obvious I can't be bothered.
What are you going to say?
You don't have to want to return to a barter system in the Stone Age to complain about the way the financial crisis affected large numbers of people in the world, do you? Even if you're having a cup of coffee and you've got a tent.
No, I think if you really can't get up there and say capitalism is crisis and then enjoy everything it brings and revel in it and relish it.
You keep saying everything. They had a cup of coffee. That's not everything.
Well, according to The Guardian, the protesters have a number of targets, but their ambition is to stamp out greed and world poverty. They're hoping to set up a visitors' centre and an outreach group to spread the message.
Right. Well, that sounds really effective.
Much better to get some lobbyists in.
Now, Jacob, you supported Boris for the leadership, didn't
great
you?
man.
Until he was...
And very popular on Have I Got News For You?
You supported Boris until he was stabbed in the back by Michael Gove. Then you supported Gove until he was knocked out. And then you supported Andrea Leadsom. Presumably that was kind of just for a laugh. And in any case, are you really a fan of Mrs May and the Chief Whips?
Oh, absolutely. There is greater zeal in a convert than there is in somebody who starts off down the road, though I certainly accept that my predictions during the Conservative leadership campaign were not always correct.
You see, you can do the diplomacy thing, whereas Boris really can't do it, can he?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. I think he's marvellous. I'm a jolly good fellow.
Oh, you're just being silly now.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I think he's a great representative for the country on the world stage. People want to meet Boris. They're interested in him.
They want to be offended by him. They
No,
want to...
the row today is that he said something that most people know to be true. So I can't see why people should be too upset. I think the
But
shock...
then Mrs May said it wasn't true.
No, Mrs May said it didn't fully represent government policy. That's a different thing.
David Cameron says we've got to put this story behind us. Forget about it. It was embarrassing. It's over.
And what's wrong with that?
And what's wrong with that? It isn't.
Isn't it?
Not if I could help it. Were you there for his goodbye resignation speech?
I did hear his goodbye resignation speech.
Were you moved?
I was moved, especially when he thanked his wife and the people around him that were targeted by the media. I was moved by that, yeah.
Yeah. Did you think, God, the media, they're to blame?
I didn't think they were to blame. I didn't think the media...
Because if it hadn't been for the media, he'd still be in his job.
I thought that there were legitimate things that the media asked and totally illegitimate things that the media asked.
Which ones were they?
The innuendo about his personal life.
He said he'd blurred his personal and professional life, so presumably we were entitled to ask about the personal life.
There was a legitimate area of inquiry, that's perfectly fine. Most of the coverage was not about that legitimate area of inquiry. And
so he had his mate in the room, who wasn't security vetted, who was listening to briefings that he should have had nothing to do with. A mate who was paid by shadowy transatlantic interests, including the Israeli government and the Iranians and the others, who were paying through a fake company called, what was it called? Satnav or Pargav or something, which managed to fork out all this money. I mean, it was a really shocking dereliction of duty.
it was a breach of the ministerial code and he resigned for it. I don't see...
A breach of the code sounds like he's ripped his trousers. I mean...
Because didn't you send
you should know all about complaints here, shouldn't you?
But didn't you send photographers in to sneak up on this chap's wife while she was in a hospital or something, caring like that?
Yeah.
And you got ticked off for that.
Yeah.
And you probably had a go at Selina Scott's sex life.
Well, we only said she'd enjoyed some smoked salmon down by a loch in Lomond. That was all.
A loch in Lomond? A loch in Lomond.
There was only one loch in Lomond.
I don't know what...
I can't remember what it's called now.
The Queen...
No, the answer to this is...
Has someone complained? Have they all complained?
Only one of them was thrown out, which was Julia Carling. The rest of them were all...
So you lost 3 and Julia Carling...
Oh, we didn't lose.
You beat Julia Carling.
We had 3 adjudications against us, which we tried to resist.
Sounds like 3-1 down to me.
Admittedly, we were left in a slightly vulnerable
you
position.
accepted the rulings, obviously, Piers,
Of course
didn't
we
you?
did, yeah.
As a paid-up member of the Press Complaints Commission, you said, fine, it's a fair cop.
Exactly. What are you getting at it?
No, just checking you hadn't been vindictive about
we had
it afterwards.
In no way would I be vindictive unless it was Rupert Allison.
Oh.
Well, he's the one that brought a case against you, and then you went...
No, he thinks we've got a vendetta against him.
Which you have.
The one that you send your photographers to the south of France to photograph him. That Rupert Allison, is that the one? Just because he took a court case against you?
We have a vendetta against his party. There's nothing wrong with that.
But you left him alone until he brought a case against you.
No, he's always bringing cases against it. He loves it.
Well, let's not fall out over this. Have we got the points?
The truth is, Julia Carling is the only one who was unsuccessful in a Press Complaints Commission complaint against...
Because they adjudicated that she'd invaded her own privacy.
They said that unlike
going on telly and
Spencer,
talking
for instance, who has sold his family photos to Hello magazine repeatedly for lots of money, she had put herself into the public eye. It was deemed that Earl Spencer was entitled to privacy because presumably he's...
Well, his wife was entitled to receive treatment in hospital without being photographed having it. Probably was the ruling, the basis.
That was part of it, that was the part I'd concede.
But your proprietor agreed with the PCC, didn't he?
He did, yes.
You sort of got rather bollocked by Murdoch, didn't you?
Rather? I got severely bollocked, yeah.
Did he? Were you sacked? You know...
Sacked, did you say?
Were you sacked?
That's a very serious thing to say on television.
Did you get sacked?
I didn't get sacked. I'm glad you just said it, because that's going to help pay for the holiday, thanks.
I can just imagine a jury finding for the editor of the News of the World.
It's almost like finding the editor of Private Eye, isn't it? By the way, Ian, you know where you live?
Yeah.
You're about to get a new neighbour.
You?
Happy New Year.
Well, actually, next-door neighbours are you going to be?
He'll be within long lens, I can assure you.
Is that a photographer?
He's a charmer, isn't he?
So, Conrad, you have seen this show before. You know what it entails.
I think so, yes.
Well, I salute your balls.
I will give you the opportunity to do just that.
And who says prison doesn't work?
What's the other protest that's been going on peacefully?
Peacefully,
so far?
that's the protest outside St Paul's against the terrible world economy.
They may have to close it
I think
down.
they've already had to close the shop and the cafe.
Oh, OK.
What's happening to religion?
I know.
They were protesting against the stock exchange, but they couldn't camp outside there. And then St Paul said, all right, you can camp here.
Although it was quite amusing to see the longest queue ever for Starbucks in the history of the world in that square at a protest against capitalism.
Does anyone know what the London protesters are trying to achieve?
Well, the overthrow of the corrupt city system as they see it, one suspects, no?
They tweet about it regularly on their iPhones, perhaps in between getting cafe lattes, and housing themselves in some very fancy tents. But they are against capitalism, except for the lattes.
So if they buy coffee, their opinions are worthless.
I think if they prop up a corporate titan like Starbucks, they've got to ask themselves how much of capitalism they really don't like.
I don't think you can negate them because they have a cup of coffee. It's like saying to a condemned man on the way to the gallows when he's blubbing, you ate your last meal. What's the matter with you?
He said it was your last meal.
You can't be against capitalism and then take everything that it provides and say this is terrific.
Everything?
Thank you, but I hate the system that you're providing.
One cup of coffee and they can't...
Can't they be about... Sorry, no. It's just so obvious, I can't be bothered.
What are you going to say?
You don't have to want to return to a barter system in the Stone Age to complain about the way the financial crisis affected large numbers of people in the world, do you? Even if you're having a cup of coffee and you've got a tent.
No, I think you do.
Backstage is a different person.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was very supportive.
No, that is libelous.
I still think Boris was one of our better Prime Ministers. Yeah. I see you selected the audience, you know. The people who don't like Boris are Conservatives, yeah.
You can't just say you've selected the audience. You've got no evidence for that, no proof. It's just bollocks. This isn't GB News.
Hang on, isn't this GB News? I thought I was on GB. We're in the wrong place altogether. Anyway, right. It has been another week... don't go. No. Sorry, that was a bit late, wasn't it?
But you were on a reality show. You were on Hunted.
I was, yeah, to raise money for Stand Up to Cancer, yeah.
Right.
It's good.
Oh, you pulling that old charity
Yeah. Well, of
angle.
course, yeah. Because I can just see you cocking your...
What?
Got better eyesight than me.
Yeah.
How long did you survive before you were found?
I won. I mean,
oh, you won?
Yeah.
You're applauding the fact that one of your elected representatives bunked off for 2 weeks and went on telly instead.
Yeah, absolutely right. What a good man.
This libel trial's going to go well.
I can't wait.
What bit did the BBC get wrong?
This idea So I run a company that trains veterans to go into cyber employment.
Yeah.
And 4 companies away from that, there's a company that's gone bust.
Yeah, it's not many companies. It's quite a big company. 4 people being arrested. Big story.
It's a big story, but it's got nothing to do with me.
You never...
Well, of course not.
Not
Why would I have
interested in
anything
who
to do with
provided your
financial
£85,000 salary?
Yes,
For a
and it was
4-hour
provided through business in that company that company generated. That
How
had
does
nothing to
training
do with us,
veterans
yeah.
make enough money to earn you 85
Because if you train them in cyber security, and they have specialist skills, they go into FTSE 100 companies and they earn quite a lot of money in cyber security. I sound like a right bastard, don't I, doing this whole sort of veterans employment thing?
No, it's not the veterans bit. It's the £85,000 for a 4-hour job.
I know. I know what you're thinking because you're
I'm thinking, why don't you do it for free?
I know, because you get 20 grand for 2 hours tonight, don't you?
Yeah, but the people who've lost money out of this company are very cross with you. It's about your behaviour and the fact that you didn't know and didn't ask as a non-executive director, where does the money come from for this
I did ask where it came from, and it came from the business that's generated by the business that we do.
They were providing the money that kept your company going.
No, they
you were a
didn't.
non-exec.
No, they didn't. That's why the BBC are being sued for libel, because no money went from that company into Crucial Academy.
But it did, though.
OK, well, you can keep saying that, but it really didn't.
No, I'm just saying the chain...
This is one for Judge Rinder, I think.
Yeah. I'm merely trying to establish the facts. You say you're going to sue the BBC for reporting a story that everybody else has run, and you say that's not how the money got there.
I am absolutely sure that not a single penny has come from LCF and gone into Crucial Academy. If it has, I would leave.
It hasn't gone directly in. It's gone in through a series of
No,
other companies.
directly or indirectly. If it had, I would leave. Any
All
more?
right, well, we'll see what happens.
This is like all of my Christmas dinners with my family.
What has David Cameron been saying about criminals? Conrad.
That in this great United Kingdom, those officially so designated may actually have broken the law. And that this is a departure from some transatlantic customs.
He didn't really make a decision that innocent people should not go to jail, did he, this week?
Does this require the truth, Alexander?
I know you're not used to that, Conrad.
Not used to hearing it, certainly.
Ah, really? What about from the jury?
9 acquittals, and they sort of ran out of steam. But the Supreme Court made up for it
No, you didn't run out of
unanimously.
steam. You ran into jail. They found you guilty, didn't they, Conrad, the jury?
9 acquittals, complemented by a unanimous vacation of the 4 guilty verdicts by the Supreme Court of the U.S.
Didn't they? One for fraud and one for obstruction of justice.
Ian, please.
Oh, stop reciting the verdict as though it was true.
A little respect for due process, Ian.
No,
You're a banana.
I do respect it. I am not a banana. All I'm saying is that you were found guilty of 2 counts, which stood, you went to jail, you've come back. You would like to be rehabilitated, if that was the word.
No, I have been rehabilitated, and I'm proud to have been cleared by the Supreme Court unanimously.
You weren't cleared.
And I've come here...
You've come here to say you're innocent, which is sweet, but not true.
I bet he would have been more of a gentleman.
Yes, but he would have...
It's a big secret, though, isn't it, your breast implant? Well, you certainly kept it quiet.
Yeah, I was straight on the phone to somebody with a greasy shirt in Wapping saying, please discuss my breasts with the nation.
And can you buy the rights of my book?
Yes.
I mean, it's terrible bloody media intrusion. Look, the camera's here, Paula.
Ian,
She wasn't invited on this show.
please stop being unkind. Don't be unkind.
He's professionally
Shall I
obliged
stop
to be.
being unkind?
Well, there's only one way to sort this out. If you want Ian to stop being unkind, phone 098...
I am a bit worried, because apparently your current beau sort of beats people up, doesn't he?
He sometimes gets a bit cross.
And if the photographers come in and they're from the wrong organisation and you haven't sold the pictures to them,
Or we both punch them, yes.
You both. Well, there we go. Fair enough. 2 black eyes next week.
Yes, there's nothing wrong with physical violence.
Who's going to have 2 black eyes next week?
You are.
You're not going jogging, are you? Has it got something to do with the fact that they all dye their hair?
Oh, well, that's...